Well, here we are in Canberra. We're standing at the front door of our nation's Parliament House, and we are just about to launch a very exciting initiative by Global Care called National Others Week. Here's the press conference now.
My name is Pilt, and I'm the Director of National Others Week. And I want to thank you for coming out today as we launch National Others Week, and appreciate your time. You know, one of the most inspiring movies that I've seen over the last 20 years is a movie that features a young gentleman called Trevor McKinney. Trevor's just a young man. The movie's about a kid. He's 8 years old. And Trevor has an alcoholic mother and an abusive and absent father. And as he goes to school, he gets a new social sciences teacher called Mr. Simonet. And Mr. Simonet gives them an assignment and says, what we want you to do is, to the whole class, come up with an idea that's going to change the world and then implement it. And so little Trevor comes up with this idea of when somebody does something good for you, rather than giving it as a payback and rather than kind of giving them, you know, whatever's due them because they've done a good deed, he comes up with the idea of paying it forward. And not just to pay it forward once, but to pay it forward multiple times and to pay it forward 3 times. And thus the name of the movie, Pay It Forward. And so as little Trevor puts this idea into action, it actually brings a revolution into his life, into his mother's life, into his emotionally and physically scarred social sciences teacher, Mr. Simonet, and a revolution into all the people's lives in the ever-increasing circle of people that his concept of paying it forward actually touches. And when I think about National Others Week, I think that the main motive is about bringing a revolution of kindness, of care, and a focus on others right across our great nation of Australia. And the key motive is because life is a team sport. You know, you go back thousands of years when God created the heavens and the earth, and he made the landscape, and he made the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, the animals, and he made man, and he took a step back and he said, you know what, this is good stuff. But then he squinted and had a bit of a look, and he said, you know what, in all of creation there's something that's not good. And he said it's not good for man to be alone. And so he came up with the concept of making a helpmate, a person that would stand alongside him, a companion, a friend, and brought to him woman. And ever since that moment in time, man has existed in community. But you know, sometimes as we exist in community, we get caught up in the busyness of life and we forget the incredible power of focusing on others. We forget that love and kindness are never wasted, but they always make a phenomenal difference. We forget that the wisest man that ever lived, some say, King Solomon, said that what is desired in man is kindness. We can get caught up in our schedules and that we forget that there's no such thing as a small act of kindness, but every act of kindness is incredibly significant. National Others Week is about bringing others back into focus in our own personal lives and to bring others back into the focus of the national agenda. Last Sunday was World Humanitarian Day, and that's fantastic, but I don't want just one day where we think about being a humanitarian. I want 7, and which is why we're doing it for the week. But not only just that we would focus for 7 days on others, but it would become a habitual part of our lifestyle. In the Australian society, in our competitive, make it to the top, be number one type society, kindness is not awarded the same status as the attributes of money, of power, of fame, of beauty. Kindness is not viewed as being critical to personal success in everyday actions. Kindness is often thought of as something that extra nice people do, if they're, you know, just because they're very nice, or something that people do because they're going to get something out of it, or because maybe the television cameras are rolling and we can kiss a baby and get re-elected. Kindness does not appear on the David Letterman's top 10 lists of reasons for getting out of bed in the morning, but there is an alternative view. And the alternative view that kindness is envisioned as a vital force to our well-being as individuals and as to the human, also to the human collective. And just as sunlight is a source of energy that maintains organic life, it's kindness and being focused on others that is the source of energy that maintains and gives meaning to our humanity. We are more than just animals in a paddock. We are people who exist in community, and kindness is the blood flow that spreads life through that community. Without sunlight and kindness, neither organic nor compassionate life can exist on this planet. Without the spirit of kindness, we become self-centered, vain, emotionally cold, and possibly, if you read the newspapers, we're given over to violence and greed, and we do things that are against the law. Only by demonstrating interpersonal kindness can we prevent our milk of human kindness from turning sour. We are kind to others not because they appreciate us or because they're going to say thank you. We are kind to others. We are focused on others simply because it's the right thing to do. That is the essence of the embodiment of National Others Week. Global Care is the social justice arm of Christian Outreach Centre, a movement of churches across Australia, and it is the initiator and the organiser for National Others Week. And I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I think it's a fantastic concept, and I think as we launch this today and we roll it out across Australia, and indeed there's been interest around the world. I was speaking to a gentleman in Sheffield who wants to implement it into a campus over there, and a number of other places right across the UK. What I love about National Others Week is it provides an opportunity for the greatest participation. There's 22 million people in Australia, and guess what? 22 million people can be focused on others. It provides for the greatest motive, because what greater motive is there than to help somebody and expecting nothing in return? Just the pure motive of being kind for kindness' sake. It provides the greatest impact. Every single one of us has been impacted in our life by an act of kindness. Hopefully not just one, but there's been multiple that you have been deeply impacted. So it provides the greatest impact. And finally, it provides the greatest return. Kindness is often free, but yet has a phenomenal return, has incredible impact. And so the fact that we give it for free can have a phenomenal return on the investment that it is. As I finish off, we hear a lot today about global warming and climate change. And I was reading an article by a gentleman called Pierre Ferrucchi. And I want to quote, because he made an interesting comment about the dangers of global cooling. And he said, as the pace of living grows faster, and the impact of new technologies more insistent, communications become hurried and more impersonal. The drive for profit overrides the heart. Warmth and genuine presence fade, and the planet cools. National Others Week is about warming up the hearts of Australians right across the nation so that we aren't involved in a planet that is cooling in our emotions, but we are warming up in the collective we call humanity. I hope people right across the nation of Australia are involved in National Others Week. The 29th to the 4th of November, 29th of October to the 4th of November 2012, and it's all to do because life is a team sport. Now, we are honoured here today to have the Honourable Kevin Andrews, the Shadow Minister for Families, Housing and Human Services, and he's here representing the Leader of the Opposition, Tony Abbott, and I would like you to put your hands together and welcome Mr Andrews to the platform.
Thank you very much, Peter. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great delight to be here this morning for the launch of National Others Week, both in my own capacity and, as Peter said, to represent the Leader of the Opposition, Tony Abbott. I was interested, Peter, in your reference to the Pay It Forward movie, because I was at a secondary school in my electorate recently where the school had taken that movie and the theme of it as the focus of their social justice and outreach program for the year. And one of the things which the students were doing was not only looking at how they could contribute to the community in various ways, but they were taking the idea of a film as well and making a film about what they were doing in various groups, and then they had a film night in which all the parents and friends were invited to come along and to look at their efforts in that way. And I thought this was a real sense of being able to reach out to the community around, inspired by the film which you spoke about. National Others Week, as you said, will be held in the end of October and the beginning of November this year, and it's been planned by Global Care Australia to develop a greater awareness of and an appreciation for people around us in the community. I noticed the photographs here on the banners, and I suspect they're from Kinglake, where I came in contact with Global Care after those tragic bushfires which had swept through Victoria, and the work which was done there by team of volunteers to assist many people who'd been devastated by that tragedy was a real reaching out to others in the very theme and the very living out of this notion of National Others Week. As we've heard, that's the Senate, so I can keep going. As we've heard, Global Care is the disaster relief arm of the Christian Outreach Centre, and National Others Week will be networked out throughout thousands of Global Care volunteers and 30,000 members of the Global Care's 150 churches in Australia, and also other partners in the community such as Rotary, Lions Clubs, the Service Clubs, Red Cross and Westpac as a major supporter. So this will aim to honour the many thousands of people who volunteer throughout the nation and to reach out with a helping hand to many of our fellow men and women and children who are in need of care, who might be in distress or just need somebody to give them that friendly smile in the street each day. As you can see from the material, the theme or the motto is Mates Helping Mates, and that is just what will be happening during the week. It will encourage people to look beyond their own four walls and make a difference to someone else's life. In other words, to be a mate to them. And it doesn't have to be a major gesture or an expensive gift. Just to be there for someone is the greatest gift that we can give to any other person, to offer an encouraging word or to help someone when they're in need. Indeed, psychologists tell us that helping others actually helps to build our own self-esteem. In other words, when we choose to bless others, we can also benefit ourselves. It was Albert Einstein, as I recall, who said, "Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile." Well, the man that Peter quoted before, King Solomon, also said that two are better than one. If someone falls, he has someone to help him back up. And that sense of being able to lift up, to give real meaning to another person is very important. Global Care's been honoured by Her Excellency the Governor-General, by state premiers, by police and emergency services, particularly for the type of work which I referred to earlier during the Kinglake fires and of course further north during the Queensland floods. So there's many things that we can do to help our neighbours, ranging from simple kindnesses to acts of service. In this modern age, a friendly Facebook message, a small gift, a kindly conversation. These are just a few of the many things that we can do to reach out to help our fellow human beings. So may I congratulate the organisers, Global Care Australia, and the many thousands of people right across this land who will participate in this event. Life is a team sport is one of the mottos of this week. This is a way in which we can, as Australians, all be part of a bigger and greater team.
Thank you, Kevin. It's so great that you could take the time out of your busy schedule in a sitting week. We really do appreciate your time. And we'd like to say thank you for your work that you do serving Australia. Sometimes in our world, in our culture, and in the political fray, we forget to say thank you to our politicians who are public servants, who are effectively serving their constituents and the constituents of Australia. So we really do take this time to say thank you. We really do appreciate you turning up. We've enjoyed a wonderful relationship with our partners, our corporate partners, Westpac, our corporate partners in Campbell Page, in Rotary, in Motorama, and numerous corporate partners around the world, around Australia and the world, that help us do what we do to help others. This week coming, National Others Week, is not about raising funds, it's about serving others. It's not a fundraising exercise where we're asking people for money. What we're asking people to do is go and say thank you to someone, to go and take a meal to someone, to do some simple things, go and give blood to help the wider community, to help everybody in Australia to really do something for someone else. It is literally National Others Week. We want to help other people and we want to encourage other people to get involved in that. You know, it's so easy to go about our lives in a modern society and really not engage others. And we live in a very individualistic society. I think that's now starting to come out in the levels of violence and levels of divorce and levels of selfishness we see across society. So we really want to just start to focus people back on other people. We do a lot of things across Australia and across the world, but particularly we've been successful in helping many others in the Kinglake bushfires, in the floods in Queensland, in the cyclones in Queensland. But we're not just a disaster organisation, we're an organisation that want to help other people engage with the community. Our adage is this: mates helping mates. It's an Australian adage. It's something that we saw demonstrated in every disaster, but we saw it particularly demonstrated in the Queensland floods, where literally thousands of people came out to help other people clean their houses. And we don't want that to be a one-off event. We want that to be a daily event. So this week is all about encouraging people to re-engage their community. Why do we do it? We do it because life is a team sport. We do it because we're really invented, we're really created to be with other people. And we want to encourage everyone to be involved in National Others Week. Thank you for coming here today. We really do appreciate you. Thank you for being part of an important launch. We do encourage you to get involved in October and be involved in National Others Week. We invite you to come today and have morning tea and share some time together. Thank you.